Ooh, ooh, hello. Welcome. I don't. Why am I talking like that? Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Thursday stream. Baked beans. Damn it, beans. What are you talking about? Baked beans. Actually, that sounds really good though. Like some barbecue beans are really good. Hello, Tatum. Pancake. Hello, Small. My voice seems like it's broken today for some reason. Excuse me. Hello, Noah. Solar. Welcome. Hammer beans. What is that from?
Tachum Pancakes just resubscribed for 23 months.
Why does it say like Tachum?
Till my 2-year anniversary.
1 more month till my 2-year. Thank you, Tatum Pancakes, for resubscribing and being subscribed for almost 2 years. Where has the time gone? Where has the time gone? I'm just saying, I don't know what I'm saying that for. Hello, Paige Mustang. Hello, hello to Sky. Hello, Sky. It's Barley Boo, first time chatter. Hello to you. Where do you come from, Barley Boo? Welcome. Mount Laurel, hello. Werewolf Billy's here too. Hello, Werewolf Billy.
Sol_Sorrows just resubscribed for 12 months. Full year of sub, let's go. Maybe I'll be a fancy bean someday.
You already are fancy bean, Solar. Come on. Thank you for resubscribing. 1 month tier 1 and being subscribed for a whole year. Wait, let me see. Solar said something in chat too. You got the purple heart? Wait, how do you get the rainbow heart? Is that 2 years? I noticed mine. I was chatting in chat and mine's like white right now. I'm not sure what that even means. Woo! Okay, so this is what we're doing today, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad you can join. Join me here on my Thursday stream, even though I don't stream on TikTok almost anymore. That's my song of not streaming. Today, Sib's not going to join us because Sib is exhausted from work, so he might take it easy or take a nap or just relax. He's exhausted. He works pretty hard during the week. And yeah, he needs a break today. He can't be doing stream stuff. So sorry about that, everybody. I know you're all very huge fans of Sib. Someday Sib will take over this entire channel and it'll be just Sib, okay? Yeah, Rainbow's 1.5 years. Whoa! Thank you, Noah. TikTok, what? If I wait too long to stream on TikTok, it might be banned by then. Oh, evil US Congress. Okay, so what's gonna happen today? No Sib, we're gonna play Pictionary, and I might come up with some silly titles to give out to people in Discord for fun for the week.
Featuring Cheer Dex 100. Whoa. Boons and blessings have helped me at work. I didn't get the original position, but I magically and accidentally got a different one. I have my own building now.
You have your own building? What does that mean, Petrie?
Little Space Pigeon just resubscribed for 19 months.
Why do you have a building?
Nearly 20 months, wow. I'm not doing too good at the moment, but now I'm watching your stream. I hope I'll feel brighter. Much platonic love.
Oh, thank you, Little Space Pigeon. I hope you feel better too. I'm sorry not feeling well. Thank you for resubscribing 1 month tier 1 and being subscribed for 19 months. I'm very bright. Look how white I am. Oh, I need to actually do a tweet really quick and also a Discord announcement. That's helpful to do sometimes, especially on platforms that don't like to notify people sometimes. I don't know why they do that, but they're trying to control us. Okay, I need to stop talking propaganda. I'll tweet that. There we go. There we go. And then that's done. Let me look in Discord too, make sure everyone's being behaved. Let me see. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna look in the, what is it called? What is it called? What does a ferret say? Where is the channel? Oh, wait, it's live or something, right? Oh, there it is. You lit it up for me. Thank you. There's Solar. Thank you. Okay. I'll try to keep an eye on that occasionally too, even though some of you like to play in that channel. Thank you, Little Space Pigeon, for the 500 bits. And thank you, Tammy, for redeeming. Wait, what are you redeeming? That's not bits. Those are Dazzle Stars. Those are even better than bits. Because Dazzle Stars can make our dreams come true. Oh, that's right. I'm not allowed to say that anymore either. Let's see the redeems really quick too before we do any Pictionary stuff. Hydrate from Little Space Pigeon. Actually, I would like to hydrate because my voice is, it feels like my voice is altered a little bit. My voice is off for some reason. I didn't even talk today much at all. All I did is like, I ate some food, I had some pizza, and then I did some exercise, and I was pretty chill the rest of the day. I didn't talk at all. Boing, I will do the boing, Tammy Beans, after I get my drink. I need my energies first, some water. Does water give you energies? I don't think it gives you energies, but I like water very much. Oh, water is so good when you're thirsty too. It's like the most amazing, wonderful thing to drink. Delicious. Pizza, wow, that's delicious. Yeah, Werewolf Billy. I got like, I got a Domino's pizza. They're not the best pizza in the world, but they're okay. I had like a hand pan pizza with some veggies on it, like olives and feta cheese, and what else? Onions. It was very yummy. Yeah, like a veggie. I did put some pepperoni on there too, though. I was supposed to eat the leftovers from dinner yesterday, but I don't want to do that. Yesterday I made like cabbage veggie, is it called Basque soup? And then you have some pinto beans you add to it, the soup, or some hot sauce. It's very unique. I never learned about it until I was with Sib for a while, and he showed me. I think, did Mama Sib show it to me? I think he recommended it because people can eat that and lose weight and stuff. If you're on like a diet or something, it's really healthy and low calories and stuff. Hungry for pizza. Hey, really, you should get some pizza. I'm giving you permission right now. You can get some pizza. I give you permission. Sometimes it's helpful to have someone tell you to give you permission to do something. Like if you're like, I don't know if I want to get candy. Tell me to get candy every time.
Just resubscribed for 22 months.
Thank you for resubscribing. Costume one. Oh, costume one for the 6 months at tier 1.
Done. Just resubscribed for 17
Wait, what is
months.
how does that work? Resubscribe for 6. Is that what it always says? Tier 1 for 6. Wait, is it in 6 months periods? Wait, 1 month at. Wait, did you do? Wait, costume one. Did you do it in a chunk? Did you do it like in a chunk of 6 months? Is that correct, or am I misreading that? I'm confused. I need an adult. I'm old. Yet I stream on Twitch, so go figure. My spouse is gonna make pizza this weekend. Oh, that sounds wonderful, really. Like handmade pizza, or like DiGiorno. I like, what do you call it? Like rise dough DiGiorno. It's very yummy. I like to cook that sometimes. When I'm being super lazy. It gave me options. Yes. What? I could do 1 or 3 or 6. Oh my gosh, costume one. Does that mean that Peachring Rat did the same thing? Because Peachring Rat says resubscribe for 6 months at tier 1. Oh my gosh. What is going on? Thank you, Peachring Rat, for the 6 months in advance subscription.
Just gifted one.
Thank you, Costume One, for the 6 months in advance. We have some big ballers here. In Las Vegas, they would call you whales. Cause you're rich. No, Strawberry Delight, thank you. Strawberry Delight, thank you for the Doritos. I love Doritos. Actually, after stream, I'm probably gonna go to. Let's tell you where it is. I don't think you can find it. I want to go to a Wawa and get snacks. At Wawa's, they have sometimes pretzels and donuts and cookies. So after stream, I'll do that probably. Get a Wawa something. Oh my gosh, ain't there these people? What is going on here? Thank you too. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Let's see here. Little Space Pigeon owns a building now. I don't know owns, but you look over a building. That sounds really interesting. Wait, was that Peachring Rat? Wait. Is it be 20 months? No, that was
Nat underscore Chacha
I'm getting so confused with myself.
Subscribed for 8 months.
It was Peachring Rat.
Beautiful beans. Hi Ziggbee. I finally get to catch your stream on my day off, and I'm so happy and grateful for you all. P.S.
You want hugs? Anybody want hugs? Come here. Come here, I'm wiggling my hands. Come here. Give you some hugs, okay? I'm sorry I've been gone for so long. I hope you're all doing well, though. I do lurk in Discord and invisible. Okay, I have to thank all these people, too. Suzuki, thank you for giving out a gifted community sub and being a big bean community supporter by giving out gifts. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Costume One giving out a huge 5 additional subscriptions.
To keep my rainbow heart safe. Also, I have my own building because I cut fiberglass sheets and it's in its own building for some reason. We make bus parts and CAT scan machine parts and stuff.
Whoa.
It's itchy.
It's itchy? Wait, let me read that again. What is that material? Because it's, fiberglass. I was, for some reason, thinking plexiglass. I think plexiglass is cool, but fiberglass, yeah, that stuff is like, it's dangerous. But that's cool that they have you like doing good stuff like that. That's awesome. Fiberglass, you gotta wear masks and stuff because it's literally like fibers of glass, I believe. That's pretty, I don't know, I'd be scared of that. Glass is scary to me, especially when it's broken. What is this? Sandman? Wait, what is this? I'm getting a notification from Twitch. This is new too, I haven't seen this before. It says, The Sandman, milestone achieved. The Sandman watched 3 consecutive streams this month and sparked a white watch streak. Why is it telling me that? Is that so I can share it with all of you too? I've never seen that before. That's brand new. I see a secret message and that's cool. Yeah, I don't know either. I wonder if they got achievements. Do you got an achievement unlock on Twitch? Thank you to let's see here, I think I'm missing some. Again, thank you Costume One for advance subscribing 6 months and also giving out 5 gifted community subs. It should have said your total. You gave out a lot of gifted subs over the long, what is it, like year or more, 2 years almost? Oh, it says right there 17 months at least. Thank you Costume One for being a huge community, being community supporter. Sorry, I'm kind of silly sometimes. Nat, I said Nate. I always mess up and say Nate. Nat Chachalala, thank you for resubscribing with and using your Prime and being subscribed for 8 months. I want to read your messages in case I missed it. Hello, beautiful beings. Hi, Ziggbee. Finally got to catch your stream on my day off, and I'm so happy and grateful for you all. P.S. Grunty kicks. Oh, I got to do something else too. Tammy Beans wanted me to do something. Hey, that was a switch off kick there. Tammy Beans, you wanted some boings. Actually, someone did a cue before you, but I'll do yours first, Tammy Beans. We won't tell, okay? I'm gonna boing, ready?
Just resubscribed for 12 months. 1 year of happiness and joy. Thank you, Ziggbee.
Boing.
Ziggbee heart hug.
Boing. Well, not in the water, not in the water. I don't like water that much sometimes. Actually, I do like water sometimes. Sometimes I like water, sometimes I don't. Okay, I'll step in the water a little bit. Boing, boing. Oh, sorry, I'm on the stream. Anyways, the water's pretty too. Also want Dazzle Stars from one. How do you say that name? 1YNQ? 1 year Q? I'm afraid I'm gonna read this out loud without knowing what I'm saying. I might say something cursed or something bad. Hopefully it's not something bad. It's 1 year? No, 1 year in the queue. I don't know what that is. Ink. Ink, how do you get ink? Q, ink? Like, how do you get ink out of that? Hello, ink. I will give you Dazzle Stars, okay? Come here. I'll get some Dazzle Stars. It comes with sound effects too, apparently. That's a lot of Dazzle Stars. Thank you for Dazzle Stars. You're very welcome, Ink. You're very welcome. No E to all of them, Alex. Some of them are for Ink, okay? But I'll give you some too, Alex, okay? Because I know some of you like to eat my Dazzle Stars because it's pure magic. They are consumable. I'm not responsible for what it does to you, though. It has very unusual random effects. You gotta be careful what color of star you pick when you cast spells and stuff. What? Hello, Taylor. Extra sugary. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great if you're talking to me. Are they gluten-free stars? Technically, yes. But I gotta put like an asterisk at the end of that because I'm sure some of the stars could turn into pure gluten if you're not careful. By default, they're not. They're not. No gluten. No gluten, no GMO, no sugar. They do taste sweet though, so don't ask me how it does that, but yes. They have all the things. Hello, Doran, welcome. I'm trying a different song too. Hopefully we won't get super copyrighted striked on YouTube when I upload this. It's an Animal Crossing. Well, there's the theme song right there. I went to the next song. It seems pretty chill, and plus Animal Crossing has really good music. So I like it. Has no cholesterol, yeah. But it could make you gain weight or lose weight instantly. It depends on what star. And if you activate it. Let's play some Pictionary though, okay? And then later in the stream, I might have some silly rules I'll give to you if you can guess some random thing that whatever Ziggbee can come up with. Because I like the silly titles. Like Sandman has a Master Detective title because Sandman was extremely good at Googling. Extremely, like they were like trying to brute force an answer to obscure reference, which is impressive. Pictionary? Uh-oh, Small, are you still the champion? You've been like champion so many times, Small. I'm very impressed. And you're in the UK too, so you have ping as well. Like delay in the internets. What would my favorite color one do? What's your favorite color? Tell me your favorite color, Sky. You gotta put that in there too. I'm just good at woo. Yeah, you are smart. You're very smart. You're very smart. I don't think you're as smart as a Sandman, but I'm talking trash now. I'm causing trouble. Let me go get the pencil. Oh, it's right here. It's right here. No, seriously though, if we had a versus Sandman versus Small, who do you think would win in the knowledge department? Are you confident you would win, Small? I'm not sure. You could possibly. I don't know. Sandman's pretty sharp. Sandman's extremely sharp, I think. Small? Small? Oh no, I was gonna say Small. I'm sorry, Sandman. I guess Small won. Sammy had to Google the answer. That's true. That is true. That is very true. I think the census is small. Whoa. Whoa. You know, I could just goof off all day here, right? And not do anything productive. Oh, I need to give more Dazzle Stars. Sarah. Sarah wants some Dazzle Stars. You get one, Sarah. That was one. That was like a whole bunch. I'll give you more though. How close can I get to it? I get like super close. I want to grab it. Okay, there we go. Is that pretty? That's pretty big. Oh my gosh, that's pretty big. I like that. Let's draw some things. I might do like 4 Pictionary words. We'll see. I don't know about this xylophone music though. Is that a xylophone? I have the whole internet at my disposal. That is impressive. Yes, but we all do. Though you have to know how to use it though correctly to get information out of it, right? You know what was even a faster way? Actually, that wouldn't be a faster way. I was gonna say use like ChatGPT to find information, but obscure references probably. What am I rambling about? People have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm shaking the pencil. Let me see what the word is we have in the system right now. Ready? Are we ready? Well, I'm gonna do a little dance. that song warranted a dance. Start the prompt. All right. I gotta draw stuff now, I guess. Wait. This looks cursed already. This is not cursed. No, it doesn't. No, don't think it's cursed though, okay? Wait, everyone's already guessing what it is. How do I draw like a sword? It's a dream. The answer is a dream, everybody. How do you think how we did on that one? Hopefully really good, because I'm an amazing artist. With my stick figures. Show me the round scores versus a square score. Oh my gosh, 21 of you? That's a lot, actually, right from the start. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy, everybody. That's a lot. That's so many of you. I'll read the first 3 at least. Let me make this window a little bigger so I can see it. We have Ink. Oh my gosh, Ink is... Oh my gosh, Ink is on there. First place. There's a lot of first place people. There's Ink, Solar, Paige Mustang with first place on the Ink. I was gonna say Ink. On the Dream Word. Second is also, second place is Rose Winsome. And third place is 2 people. Lean Goddess and Petring Rat. Good job. Very good job. Hide the scores. I need to look at chat too to make sure everything's okay. Oh no, I said dreaming first. Yeah, I don't think I had the dreaming on there, unfortunately. Hope the music's not too loud either. Let me turn it down just slightly. Oh, it's good music though. Woo 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 woo. No, that's the Sandman. Okay, sorry. Yeah, emote spam is fine in chat. This is fine. You can use the emotes. It's fun to use the emotes. Let's see the next word for Pictionary. Next prompt. Stop the round. Wait, where'd I put the pencil at though? There it is. I found it. Is this from Animal Crossing? Yeah, I guess it does kind of sound Animal Crossing like. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oops, like that. And then do like is it the inside or outside? I think it's on the outside actually. I did this wrong. What am I drawing? I'm drawing a ring, like the one ring to rule them all, Lord of the Rings. I think the ring's on the outside though. You had to put it in fire though to see the writing. I was putting it on the inside for some reason, like to hide it. Whoa! Is that okay that I did that one like that? That text is what helped, but I got it too late. Let's see. Did you really not? Did you get too late? Show me the round scores. Computer. Let's see, did Solar get on there? Solar, you got on there barely, good job. Okay, this one's a little harder because it was kind of abstract, because it's just a circle kind of. First place is Rose Winsome, good job. Second place we have Alex the Yeen. What are yeens? What kind of sounds do yeens make? Yeep, 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 yeep. Yeep, yeep. No, I don't think they make that sound, but that'd be kind of cool if they did though. Petring Rat, third place. And then the rest of you. What is, oh, that one's pretty good too. Hide the scores. Wait, did I start it yet? Let's start the round. There we go, I started. Let's see if I can do this one a little bit better than the last one. I don't think these words are themed to anything per se. Wait, what is he? Wait, what am I drawing? Oh no, wait, I'm drawing something else entirely. This is wrong. And listen, I'm sorry, I apologize. Okay, it's okay. The game's still on. Let me read what word this is. Oh, that's a different thing. I must have clicked the button and changed the word. Okay, we're changing something else. It's okay. It's still fair, I think. New thing, everybody. New thing. Okay. Okay. my paw is shaking for down here. Okay, does that kind of work? That's not how they look, but what if I do it like this? Is that better? Oh, that looks so cursed. Does that make sense? Some of you know. It's wheelbarrow. Actually, that's kind of like themed to this spring, right? Because sometimes you do gardening and stuff during the spring. Ha, let's go, show the round. Wait, why is it down there? Oh my gosh, somebody got it really fast. Like Small got it again really fast. I'm gonna check chat though first. Oh geez, says Noah. I use one every day. You do, Small? Oh, that's right, you do. That would make sense because if you work with all like animals and stuff, you probably carry stuff and tools around in a wheelbarrow. Could be a barbecue too if you wanted. Do you mean it looked like a barbecue, Sandman, or that you could convert technically a wheelbarrow to a barbecue? Because both are valid, I think. Barbecue on wheels. I think it would work though. I asked for a wheelbarrow for Xmas. Did you get one, Tama Beans? Did you get one? They're very useful, especially if you do any kind of yard work or anything. I saw coals under a barbecue grill. Well, you're not alone because Sandman thought the same thing. It totally looked like a fondue pot. I'd never used a fondue pot, but I'd always seen them sold for like forever. Fondue pots being where you melt some cheese and you have these pokey things and you dip things in cheese and eat it. Which the cheese is good and everything. I kind of like the chocolate one more, maybe. I never had that either. Dip things in chocolate sounds more fun. Then again, I do have a sweet tooth. A sweet teeth, I guess. So it's just one. Oh, sorry. Who was the first place? First place was Small. And second place was Lean Goddess. Third place was there's two people, Solar and Rose Winsome. Good job. This music is very suspenseful. Let me go to the Zelda playlist. The Legend of Zelda playlist. Where is that at? That's Animal Crossing. Because they have some pretty good tunes, I think, right? It was kind of like a Stranger Things vibe. Oh, here we go, some piano. That sounds lovely. Of course, Small won. She cheats. Listen, Alex, Small does not cheat. She's playing fair and square like you, okay? Is Muse here? Oh, Muse had to go to work. Didn't Muse have to go to work? Muse was really being rough on you, Alex, today. Silence? What is that? Silence? What? No, don't say that, Small. That's kind of offensive. Maybe a little bit, I don't know. She can read minds, Ziggbee. Oh, Small, if that's true, you should have told me that a long time ago. I'd put you in a secret division of Zigbeans. You know what? You want to tell you a secret? I'm going to tell you a top secret thing, okay? I was talking to an unnamed being, which will be anonymous today. They're in my CIA intelligence division of Zigbeans, and I was like, you know what? How would I attract more people that are like into fitness and like going to the gym and stuff? And I said, do you think if I was like more buff or something, or if I had more of a gym aesthetic, I could attract more people from that genre? And they said, yes, gym aesthetic, but be careful because you might attract some thirsty people. Buffy, exactly. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Buffy confirmed. So I seriously had a chat today, and someone in DMs, someone in my secret Ziggbee division. Sorry, I'm being very silly. Okay, let's do like maybe one or two more words, and then we'll do the silly titles that we're gonna probably try to. I'll make some silly titles for anybody who wants to gets the things right that I'm gonna you'll see. Words are hard sometimes. Next prompt. Oh, does this count? I guess it counts. Okay. Start the word. It's not quite like, I guess it's kind of like spring words a little bit. Some of these are like wheelbarrow was definitely. Chain. What would chain be? Chain's not really a spring word. What am I drawing again? Okay. I know what I'm drawing. Whoop. Don't draw them too tall. answer is shadow. That's kind of like a spring. You ever see like they do the hedgehog thing? Is it hedgehog? No, it's a groundhog. The groundhog thing where they ask the groundhog if it's going to be like winter for a while. So it's kind of like checking your shadow. Show me the round scores for that. Shadow. Also a character on Sonic the Hedgehog, the edgiest of characters, Shadow Hedgehog. Okay. First place, Solar, Master of Shadows. Also a Nightwing, I believe. No, second place, there's two people, Featuring Rat and Werewolf Billy. Werewolf Billy getting a woo. A woo, no, I mean a howl.
Dynamic Cheer Dex 100. How is the Ziggbee doing, dude? Hope you're doing alright and taking some time for yourself. Don't burn yourself out, boy.
Oh, thank you, Nerdy Nanny. Thank you for this 100 cheered bits too.
100. How is the Ziggbee doing, dude? Hope you doing alright and taking some time for yourself. Don't burn yourself out, boy.
Wait, why did I hear the message twice? Sorry, what was I doing right? Oh, that was for Shadow. And yeah, I got all of them, I think, right? Or do I get third place? Third place person is Alex the Yeen on the Shadows. Also a Shadow. A shadow knower in the shadows. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just say random things sometimes. Is it working? Hide the scores. Last one for Pictionary, and then we do silly Pictionary stuff. A couple silly Pictionary things. Woo, 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 woo. Woo. Is this music chill or no? I don't know about this song. Let me go to the next one. Next song. Next song. This picks you want to sway back and forth. That was chat doing too. I think the music hypnotized me. I apologize for that. What is all these things that we're reading in chat? I'm not getting the context of some of this. Oh, this is Zelda. Yeah, Werewolf Billy. It's a playlist of like Zelda type tunes. I was doing Animal Crossing earlier. I want to try to see how the vibe is. Woo! Woo! All right, we need to do one more Pictionary really quick. Show me the Pictionary. What's the next prompt? Did we have more words? Oh, I don't know if I want to do that one. Let me see next one. Well, that one's not good. Okay, I'll do that one. I'll do that one. Okay. Some of them might be too hard to do. Like, I would feel like not a lot of you would get it because I couldn't draw it really well. Okay, ready? How did you do the thing? Oh wait, this was like a thing down here, right? You already got it like really fast. Whoa. I wasn't paying attention. Does that mean a lot of you got it, or someone just got it like really, really quick? I don't know if this is fact or not, but weren't zippers created for, I know Velcro, wasn't Velcro created for like space? Like NASA came up with Velcro? I feel like zippers as well, possibly. Zippers and Velcro? Boop. Sorry, I thought this music was gonna like just pop off. It didn't.
Kyle
what is that?
Just resubscribed for 25 months. Ziggbee Pride Ziggbee Blip.
Oh, thank you, Kyle. Kyle, thank you for the resubscription. 1 month, tier 1, being subscribed for 25 months. That's too long, honestly. 25 months. Thank you very much, Kyle. That's very kind of you to support this silly ferret. This very silly ferret. Woo. Focus, Ziggbee. I gotta focus. Sorry. I'll hide the word. Oh, show the round scores first. Only a couple of you, not very many. Let's see here. Spicy. What's that? Is it last part? Mayu? Spicy first place on that word. Solar second place. Third place is Tammy and Small. Good job. It's fun to say like funny voices, Tammy. You have a good name, Tammy. Tammy Beans! Tammy Beans! Sorry, I'm just being silly. I think that was it for all the Pictionary I wanted to do. Let me see the next word is though, just out of curiosity. No, I'm not doing that one. No. No. I could. Oh wait, we didn't do this one. I feel like I did this one like every year. I'll do this one. Oh, let's do another one. We'll do one more. I like this one because I remember I have memories. I'll share with you about it once I draw it. That's right. It's a magical Final Fantasy crystal. No, it's Kite. Kite, let's go fly a kite. I was humming it, by the way, but I guess you probably know that. Some of you know that. Mary Poppins! Mary Poppins, show the scores for Kite. Oh my gosh, even more of you. This is more than even the first time that everyone was like playing. First place, we have 2 people is Solar. Witty Kitty, good job on Kite. Second place for Kite is Lean Goddess. And third place, we have 1, 2, 3 people. Mount Laurel, Werewolf Billy, Little Space Pigeon. Good job, everybody. Good job. I'm always impressed as you can understand my crude drawings. You want to see who the champion is? I don't know who's going to be the champion, though. Sandman, let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. Oh, what's the rest of the song? Let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. I don't know the rest of the song. Usually when I like songs, I think of songs, like I only remember like a few words of a song, and then it's like, then I can't remember the rest of it. Let's see who the winner of champion of Pictionary for this week is. That was quite a few words. It was like 4 or 5 words. Show me the grand. Show me the game score. Oh, no doubt who the winner is this week. Solar! And speaking, I don't know how to transition into Tammy Bean's direct tip. Tammy Beans! Thank you for the direct tip. Thank you very much. It's a very generous direct tip, by the way. Let me get closer. Let me get in comfortably close. Thank you, Tammy Beans, for the very generous big tip. Thank you very much for that. Solar's the champion of Pictionary this week. We're small on the list. 1, 2, 3, 3 down. Oh, Small. I'm sassing you, Small. I'm sassing you. No, just kidding. Second place, honorable mentions. I'll read everybody's name because it's fun. Rose Winsome, Petring Rat, Small, Little Space Pigeon, Alex Seguin, Lean Goddess, Werewolf Billy, Spicy. I'll say Spicy. Mount Laurel, Paige Mustang, Tatum Pancakes, the crabbiest of cakes. Nat Chachalala, The Sandman, Tamma Beans, Oslo the Otter. I don't think I read your name in a long time. Axolate, Noah, Ink, Witty Kitty, Taylor, Sarah, Pumpkin. Oh, I can't read the rest. There's too much text on there. Pumpkin, Lavender, Nerdy Nanny. Oh, Nerdy Nanny, I remember. You raided me many times. Thank you. Welcome back, Nerdy Nanny. Thank you for all the raids in the past, too. Crab Mother Mickey, you're here too. Welcome. Strawberry Delight, Shadow Wolfum. It's kind of got cut off there a little bit there, Wolfum. And Kappa Pride. Good job, everybody, for getting on the list. Good job, and congratulations to Solar. Now it's time for some silly stuff. Whoa. No, that wasn't the silly stuff. I need to go into, let me see, how do I reset this? I have to go into, oh, don't do that, Ziggbee. That's gonna break everything. Let's see, let's do this one. If I reset this, where's the reset button? Refresh cache. Yes, do that. Let's see if they show the scores. The game score should be blank now. And indeed they are. Okay. So what are we doing for fun? Let me see on my list what I got. Okay. I don't know if this is capitals required for this, But let's see here. What title? I'll just make up titles for you if you get this right, okay? It's just gonna be like one question. One question. You get it right, you get the roll for the week. It's just a fun little cosmetic roll for fun of random things, okay? Great job, Sky. Oh, thank you, Strawberry Delight. And Strawberry Delight, thank you for all the likes and comments on my tweets. I really appreciate it. It makes us feel happy to see it. Like, oh, somebody can read it on Twitter, even though no one can see it on Twitter usually. I really appreciate it, Strawberry. Let's see here. Let's see here. The title you'll get if you get this answer right is you get the gargoyle title. The gargoyle title. I like that because I like gargoyles. So it's gonna be a question, all right? I don't know if this will work or not, but we'll try it. Ready for the question? This is for the title gargoyle. Actually, it wouldn't be. It should be like it should be something else, but we'll see. Maybe it'll change this slightly. Okay. Start the round. Hopefully this works right. Question. In Disney's Gargoyles animated series, which gargoyle was supposed to be originally cast as gay? Does anyone know that? You gotta be the first one to say it. You gotta say their full name. No Googling. Well, I guess you could Google, but hopefully the people that actually do know it immediately. No one's triggered it yet. Which gargoyle's gay? See, maybe I'll give you like a gargoyle title, but I'll make the gargoyle like a rainbow. That would be more fair, I think. Oh no, what does it say? Oh no, I've never seen that movie. It's actually a series. It's an old cartoon series. It was really cool. I really liked it. Let's see who got it. The first person to get it, the answer is Lexington. That was the character that was supposed to be gay. I don't think they really portrayed it obviously in the cartoon because of course Disney back then was like, don't be showing the gay stuff. Show me scores. Who got it first? One person. One person, little space pigeon. Did you Google that, or are you a fan of gargoyles? Very good job. That's very impressive, little space pigeon. Woo! That's very cool. Never watched. What is it? This Disney's homophobic? Well, that's not what the U.S. is saying with their for propaganda lately. They're saying, never mind, I won't talk about the propaganda. They should hire me to name characters. They named the characters after New York cities and stuff, I think. Like there was Lexington, Brooklyn, what's Goliath? That's not a New York name, is it? Goliath? Just job, little space pigeon. Yeah, very nice job. Ready for the next one? I'm gonna have to reset that again to do the next one as well. We have more than one. I'm just doing fun titles this week. I have to reopen and reset it though. Let's see here. Properties. Refresh it. And let's see if it's working correctly. Show me the game scores. It should be blank again. Yeah, that's blank again. All right. Ready for the next one? For this one, you get the title of Psychic. Earlier today, I used a random number generator. Okay? I used from 1 to 100. First person to guess the number gets the title Psychic. Now, I need to mention, though, that Sandman was the first person to ever get the title similar to this, and that's the only time I ever really did it. No, you can't guess numbers yet. No, it doesn't count yet. You don't, no. It's when I say go and the thing pops out. None of that counts, everybody. All right? I'll count down from like 3 and I'll push the button, okay? 3, 2, 1. Okay, now you can guess. Guess away. From 1 to 100, I used a random number generator on the computer and it gave me a number. What number? Oh, I gotta think of it. I'm sorry, I gotta think of it. When I thought of it, someone got it, I think. I'm gonna be curious. It'll be interesting to see who got this one. Hopefully you're on the Discord too if you win. That's why I give you the title for the week. Show me who's the psychic of psychics in the Ziggbee community. Show me the round scores. Little space pigeon? What? Actually, there's two people. Rose Winsome as well. Two people. Milliseconds apart, which makes it valid, really, because that wasn't like there wasn't someone copying. Well, why would you copy someone? You wouldn't know if you're right necessarily. I think two people get it technically. Two people, you both got it. So Little Space Pigeon and why does my tongue keep sticking now? And Rose Winsome. I believe you're both winners. I will recheck the VOD though, just to make sure it looks like no funny business is going on. Such a boring number. Small. That takes us to our last title, special title. It's related to that number. Let me reset this one more time for our final special title. I'm just going to hand out for the week for fun. It's cosmetic. Wait, how do I do this again? Properties, reset the game. Okay, let's see here. Show me the round or game scores. They are cleared again. Last and final question. First one gets it wins. The title for wait. Oh my gosh! No! Don't raid me. Don't raid me. Listen, I'm nearing the end of the stream almost. Welcome. Evil Emperor Dave, thank you for your very generous rave. I'm thinking rave. Evil Emperor Dave, thank you. Do you go to raves, Evil Emperor Dave? Is that an evil thing to do? Is go to raves? If you're new here and don't know who I am Ziggbee, the almighty and powerful, feared in the multiverses. The answer is Evil Emperor Dave. Damn it, Pete. Apparently, yes, that was very interesting that you just kind of popped in there. If you're new, we're playing some silly games. We play Pictionary and then like answer things, see if we can get it right. Because I'll give like silly rolls in Discord for fun for the week. We're gonna do our last one of this evening, which is we had someone guess the number from 1 to 100, and two people got it. The number 30. I'm leading up to something. Give me a moment here. Okay, there we go. So the last question of the night. I don't know what the title will be yet. I have to decide what the title will be. But you ready? You ready? Start the round. The number 30 is what element in the elemental table? You have to say it by name, not abbreviation. Tatum, you get disqualified. Disqualified. Wait, does no one know? Oh no. 30. You can Google it, literally Google it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, my heart. Let me see the chat again. Tatum, you're just like throwing things out there. Silver, gold, nickel. Rapid fire. Let's see who got that. I think I saw who got it though. I mean, brute force does work. Show the game scores. We gotta. Oh my gosh, there's a few of you that got milliseconds apart. Did you guys guess it, or did you actually have to Google it? First place is Peachring Rat, which I saw. Lavender and Noah. Should I honor all three, or just one at the very top? Let me see what chat says. I want information, and I want the true. Anyone know where true comes from? It's from a movie. When I say true, it means the absolute truth. Like, so, Lavender, Noah, and Peachring Rat. Did you know that, or were you guessing? I want to hear some of your answers. I'm curious. Answer me. I gotta wait like a few seconds or so before you can answer, before I can get your messages though, because there's a delay. What did Billy say? I copied the zinc when I saw it popped up. A lot of people looking at other people's papers for answers, I see. Dun. Wait, no, is no one answering me? Why is peach drink lavender and no one answering? Unless I'm missing it. Am I missing it? They don't want to tell me the truth. What just happened? Oh my gosh, what was that? Wait, what? I answered you. Oh wait, oh gosh, lavender, I'm sorry. I'll have to look at the VOD. I'll make my decision if you all three get it or not. I have a shirt with the table on. Oh, that's pretty poggers, actually. You definitely earned that if you're wearing an elemental table shirt. Do you go to chemistry? Definitely have it memorized. Patron Rat! I don't know if I believe. Why are you highlighting it and putting it in caps? Redeem Ziggbee. Thank you. Let's see. Oh my gosh. The redeems got out of control. Well, good job, Peaching Rat, Lavender, and Noah. The answer was zinc on the periodic table. That is number 30. What Small said was a boring number. You were calling number 30 basic. Zinc is pretty pog. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's not as cool as gold or silver, but or platinum or titanium. Anyways. Okay, I need to get rid of the thing off the screen, and I need to do redeems, because all of you got too many redeems going on. Oh, there. Oh, curse song. I think it's a curse song because whenever I hear that song, I think of the mask vendor in Zelda, and they have like a, oh my, they don't stick their tongue out. They have a music box and they play it, right? Or is that, am I misremembering or something? Let's see, I'll do the oldest redeem first. Dazzle stars for costume one. Costume one, sorry, that was a long time you were in the queue. Here's some dazzle stars for you. There you get some dazzle stars. Also, question and answers. What's this? Solar. Did you see the new Tears of the Kingdom? What? Gameplay trailer. Wait, Tears of the King... Solar? I don't even know what you're talking about. What does that mean? Breath of the Wild 2. Oh! Breath of... No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. I played... Wait, was this Breath of the Wild? Is that the open world one? I haven't seen it. I've been missing a lot of stuff on media and stuff. Like, there's supposed to be a Dungeons and Dragons movie out too. It looks kind of interesting. Has anyone seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie? Is it good? Is it worth watching? I'm sure that any Zelda will be an awesome game. I'm sure it'll be pretty cool. I might play it. I don't know though. I'll have to look at the. Thank you for telling me, Solar, so I know to look for it and see the trailer. The other one is Hydrate from Costume One. Thank you, Costume One. I will get some hydration. Ooh, I've seen the trailer, looked interesting, says Strawberry. Peaching, good taste. 42 days, is that when it's coming out? 42 days? Is that what you're, I'm just assuming that's what you're referencing. Oh, that's not very long away at all, actually. Woo! Sorry, I'm just doing little dances too. What was I talking about? Oh, I was doing redeems. Yeet! Strawberry Delight, I'm refunding you. There's nothing to yeet here because this place is no fun. Sorry, Strawberry, I can't eat anything here. Everything's yeet protected. Early custom goodnight request 14 minutes ago. I might have missed it. Oslo the Otter, if you're still here, sorry if I missed you. I'll refund you just in case because it was a while ago. I'm going to bed because I'm not feeling well, but I'm so glad I got to see some of your stream this week. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're able to see it too. I hope you feel better though. Try to, if you're still here, try to, if it's your stomach related or anything, it's better to sit up. Don't lay down if it's your stomach's upset or anything. But if you're not feeling well, I hope you feel better though. Jeez, it's never fun to not feel good. I'll refund you because you're way late on that one. Question and answer. Little space pigeon. I can recommend Professor Layton music. Wait, Layton? Am I reading this right? Music for good vibes, Ziggbee. especially music from the Curious Village game. I can recommend Professor Layton. Professor Layton. Is that from the newest Pokemon one? Whoa. Is that the professor that people have like a thirst for? Or am I is that the wrong one? Out of my memory is terrible. Woo 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 woo. Nintendo Detective, not Pokemon Elite. Oh, whoops, my bad. Professor. When I think of Professor, I think of like Professor Oak and stuff in Pokemon. At least mine didn't call the cops on. Wait, what? I think that's it, everybody. I'm gonna go like head out and go to Wawa. It's getting dark out. Well, it's dark out here too. I guess if I lived in, what is it? The North or South Pole? Wait, people live in the South Pole, right? Or is it the North Pole? I never know the difference. Where's Santa? Anyways, if you live there, it could be sunny for days. That would be kind of interesting, though. Stay safe on your journey, young ferret. I will, Solar. Again, congratulations to the winners. We have Solar Champion Pictionary, and then I think it was Space Pigeon that got like 2 of them, Gargoyles, and also the Psychic one, and then I forget the last one. Well, everybody, I hope I've had a little bit of fun. It's kind of a short stream, not very frilly or filled with very much. But yeah, and I'll see you hopefully next week. Worst case, Thursday next week. I don't know if I'll stream on TikTok next week. We'll see. And yeah, that's it. How long did I stream for, actually? I'm barely an hour. I'm doing terrible, everybody. Thank you, Ziggbee. You're welcome, Taylor. It was a lot of fun, Ziggbee. Have a great night. Thank you, Strawberry Delight. Thank you, Solar, for the cupcakes. I'm gonna get something sweet at Wawa. Night, friend. Good night, Mount Laurel. Good night, Paige Mustang. Sweet dreams nights. Little space pigeon. Oh, I'll give you hugs, everybody. You want hugs? Only if you want, though, okay? Only if you want, okay? Come here, I'll give you hugs. There you go. I'll give you big hugs. Can you pretend it's from Sib, too? Okay? Okay. Because Sib misses you well, too. Sib is just very busy and sometimes gets very tired from work. There you go. Give you some hugs for both of us. Aw, you want hugs. You get hugs. And boons and blessings. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Everybody, I'm zooming out, okay? I'll see you next week, probably Thursday. We'll see. I'll tweet it if I do something during the week. Boop, boing, boing. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm not zooming yet, though. I'm gonna zoom that way. Bye, everybody. Love all of you. Platonically, of course. Platonically. You hear me? It's fun to yell. I can just yell. Isn't that fun? I can just stream and just yell at the sky for no reason. Okay, I'm going, everybody. Goodbye.